if we've learned anything this past year, like people crave community. They want to be together. This, the time.
Hey, welcome back to Keystone Conversations. As we walk through the Being Challenged together in Lent, we hope that you've been blessed by the first week of that and considering those Keystone habits. And this week we're talking about community. So let's dive in. Community, what does community mean to you, Jonathan?
Oh man, there's so many ways to look at it, right?
How do you define it?
It's, from the community that you live in to the community of people that you surround yourself with, big or small.
Sure.
It can come in all kinds of different
There's
forms,
like this,
right?
Yeah, there's like this grand sense of just a place where I live and what happens there to like individualize the people I specifically surround myself with. And I mean, it can be all kinds of things. It's helpful. I found it's helpful too, where like if you try to get specific about thinking about it, it's more impactful, right? So I could say, I live in this community, whatever that is, but I can personally detach from that because it's people, but it's just a place.
Right.
It kind of almost community is like this thing that just sort of functions on its own in a sense, like, that's my community. Where then when I think about it specifically, like how am I involved in community or how am I actively taking part in community, then it becomes a lot more specific. And like our small groups, for example, I think is a great
definitely
option, right? The community of a small group is so relational.
Yeah. And
I think it's one of those places where you see how community can really feed you. I don't know. Maybe today we sort of have lost or it just has changed sort of how community in terms of a place where you live was such a part of who you are, kind of your daily experience, where maybe that's changed a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, especially as you look back over the last year, like I think if we've learned anything this past year, like people crave community. They want to be together. This, the time of quarantine last year and leading up into the fall and even now, like that separation is having an effect on people. And so like people are looking for these opportunities to get together, and those small groups are an awesome way to do that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's interesting. I thought too how we've kind of learned that almost as if we had to step back from how we might have just thought about community, and then and now we go, there's a piece of my life that's missing, and I didn't maybe realize how much that brought to my life, like how much a part of me that is. It is. I just, for some reason, I don't know, we're talking, and I thought of community coffee. I don't know why. Maybe I just want coffee, but probably. But like, so when we lived in Louisiana, Community Coffee was a coffee shop. Still, it's a coffee brand, and we get it sometimes. Lisa finds it, and there's some kind of fun flavors and stuff. But it was interesting that, to me, the first time I even thought about it, that a coffee company would name themselves Community Coffee.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like it's something that brings people together, or that just this idea of community stirs something within us that goes, I want to be a part of that. Whether it's a corporate branding coffee or whatever, or if it's something specific or in the church or just where we live. And but man, what an incredible Keystone habit. And sometimes I think we make it almost as if like we individually have to go out and like create or find some special community, right? And other times I think it's helpful to see like maybe it also has found us, like we've been called into it. And it sort of shifts from I'm all over the place, coffee to Christ and all this stuff. But what Jesus says, come follow me, right? And not like, hey, figure out community. Hey, go find. He says, come follow me. And so often I think we want to individualize those things when what he's called us into already is community. And as we follow Jesus, we're not without it. right? It's not sort of this, well, you go figure it out, or, super individualized. It's you're coming into community, and as you follow me, even if it was just like one disciple that followed him, there's still a community because it's the two of them, and they're following Jesus, not having to make it all up on their own. They're following him in what he's doing already, right? And I think that speaks to our community, how it was our small group or whatever, how we interact in that, especially as Christians, to go, this is about the expression of my faith in this place and with these people. I don't know, that was what was on my mind.
Well, and I mean, as you look at what Jesus did, he called people into community, but then as that community grew, there were further communities that developed within the larger community of followers of Jesus, right? I mean, he had the 500 that were following him, but then you get it down to smaller and smaller, and down to the 72, down to the 12, down to the 3. Yeah, and
that's cool.
Yeah,
like you're part of this thing, but you're not lost in that thing either, like, because there's different parts of community, and I wonder how we work that out in our life then, and I think as we go through maybe the Keystone Habit of Community, we'll start to see how that is a blessing and how it can maybe benefit us. And I don't know, maybe some folks will start having conversation around what community is. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And however, whether they sit down with other people or do it digitally, I guess that's that's a way of community too, right? Yeah, that's a way of community as well. So we'll dive into it, see what Jesus has, and have some good conversations. Yeah. So thanks for joining us again with Keystone Conversations. We pray you are blessed in going through the being challenged with us, and just encourage you, have some conversation with folks. Talk about community, what it means to you, what you've learned about it. Listen to them and see where the Lord takes you in that. God bless.
Blessings.